Okay, it says I'm live. There's already 5 people here. That's never happened before. I'll be right back. My party horns. Party horns.
I can hear you.
I am not 25, but I feel like everybody should guess how old they think I am for my birthday stream. Because I think that would be hilarious. If you pay attention to my channel, you probably know, but who's a real fan? How old do you think I am? Also, today is not actually my birthday. Unfortunately, a very close friend of mine's mother died last week, and so the funeral was on my birthday. So I decided that was a really shitty day to celebrate my birthday. Coming in hot there. Firelight says, I'm pretty sure that I'm almost 40. Anyone else have any guesses? Eight people already? Wow. We have 38. Younger than me, 48. Okay.
Wrong.
Mm-hmm. Nobody is like correct yet. Like people, can guess the ballparks, but nobody's got the number. Come on now. If you get the number, I don't know what you win, but you win something.
They could pick the capybara bonus.
That's true. I do have to draw one postcard tonight because I got a new patron at the right level. So we got to draw another capybara. Firelight is the winner. I'm 37. 37 years old. I'm so old, everyone. I know, it's disgusting how old I am. It's ridiculous. I'm just so old, about to die, 1 foot in the grave. Definitely not going to be on any 30 under 30 lists. Pretty sure you said on Twitter. I might have said on Twitter as well. See, Firelight, true fan, pays attention. Bringing in information from other platforms. I'm younger than you. Aw, you should buy a brand new car. If I could buy a brand new car, thank you for $20, by the way. I wish I could buy a brand new car for that, but I do have like goals, schemes that $20 will go towards the goals, the schemes. You never know. My grandmother made it to 109. My grandfather, who I'm the most like, made it into his 90s, and he would have kept going, but he got an infection. And so it was just like super random what took him out, because actually he was doing pretty much fine. I'm already a patron, but happy birthday. Thank you. Puppet Master, I think you already know the goals and the schemes. Got to draw me a capybara. All right, Firelight, you guess my age. What should this capybara be? We had, last time when we were drawing capybaras, we had a wizard, we had an astronaut, we had a unicorn, we had a Loki, we had all kinds of capybaras. But somebody just became my patron in Capybara Month, so the napping cappy with oranges, we could do the cappy with oranges. I don't know why capybaras and oranges are so connected. Nappy cappy. I really want to see how you did that one. Which one? The capybara with oranges? Let's put them in the water. Sleeping in the water. Gotta look happy sleeping in the water. Sleeping capybara. Sleeping. No, still looks upset. Gotta get the little eye just right. So you gotta look contented. By the way, Adam is around. He'll probably pop in, say hi. He's actually down here this time. So if you hear noises, it's him. Also, if you hear noises, it's my laptop. Sleepy Bara in the water. That's his theme song. Maybe if I put some little Z's above his head, it'll be evident that he's asleep. I'm bad at water. Why did I decide to do this? Gotta put some oranges floating in the water. Orange. Sorry if I keep leaning in like a creeper, just reading the chat. Puppet Bastard, it says there, you're late on the beta reading. The book's coming out, so you don't got to worry about it anymore. That's okay. I expect people to, that's why I always ask for so many beta readers, and I take as many beta readers as I can, because I know real life is going to happen, and you're going to get distracted, you're going to forget, you're going to taper off. So like, I know that that's going to happen, which is why I have so many betas. Obviously, I want as many as possible, but also like, it's life happens. Thank you for the happy birthdays. I'm very old. So old. So ancient. Filled with ancient wisdom. Ask me any ancient wisdom, that you young whippersnappers. Adam says that he agrees, ancient. Even though he's older than me. But I'm a cool cat. I'm a cool dragon tonight. I got the birthday horns on. I was never cool, never once in my life. Wait, Adam, are you saying I'm more filled with spite than wisdom? I am. That is true. I am filled with way more spite than anything else. 95% spite. At least. So I just figured I'd come on here and like hang out and chat. I don't really know what to do with streams yet, because I never used to be able to do them, and now I'm like, I have the capability, and I'm like, what do you do with streams? Fuck if I know. I don't write consistently. I don't like have a schedule for my writing. So like doing like planning to do like a sprints, like writing sprints or something, doesn't work because I write at like super random times. And so like, I feel like as a pantser also, like just sitting down to write, be like, all right, tomorrow I'm writing at 2:00. And then I sit down to do it and my brain's like, no, you're not. You like my house? Thank you. I like my house too. There's a spiral staircase. Can you see it? Yeah. That's my Shakespeare poster next to it there. It's the kids' bedtime, BRB. Cool, cool, cool. I used to run on spite, but I'm getting out of living in survival mode. So now I don't know what my current level is. I mean, I'm all spite. I don't know how to run on anything except spite. Like if I didn't have people telling me I couldn't do things so I could say, yes, I can, fuck off, then I don't know how I would generate any of my energy. Say, am I right when the stars align? And then, even then I may not write. Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta forgive yourself. Like, if I sit down to write and I'm thinking that I'm gonna knock out a whole scene and then I write like a page, I just gotta be like, that's what I wrote today. Still got words. Now's your chance to control the future. What should future streams be beyond capybaras? I don't know. Can you make a living out of writing fantasy fiction? Oh, Horror Fantastica? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have bad news. Mostly no. I, right now, as my patrons know, am hoping to maybe fulfill my dream of being a full-time artist, but that is only possible with the help of my husband's income, if I can do it at all, and other financial avenues. My books are the lowest earners of all of the things that I do. So if you are looking to make a living, I do not recommend writing. If you're doing it because you love it and it fulfills your soul, good. But if you're like, I'm going to make all the money, no. Find a different thing. I'm alive today because of spite. Yep. Oh, yeah, you can't live off of books. Stick around for a little while. We just started. I'm drawing a capybara. If you can build up momentum, get to this nice health to the point where I can make myself write when I want to, but getting there and staying there is a tricky part. When I was working full time, I did have a schedule for my writing because I had to. But right now, I am not working, so I can be a little bit more selective, and I'm just letting myself vibe because I function best when I vibe. If you rob a bank and get away with it, you can make a living out of any hobby and career. So yes, you can. That's true. I'm sorry. I was having quitter talk. If you do crimes, it makes your other things a lot easier. So be gay, do crimes is my motto. Write a book about the heist. Yes. I'm almost done with my capybara here. I got distracted by the chat, which is a good thing to be distracted by because we've got 14 people, which is like really good for a random chatty stream. You tried traditional publishing. No, it's not a better way to earn an income. And yes, I have tried. I started querying a couple of books. I stopped, I think, in 2020 when the publishing industry started to lit itself on fire. And I was just like, I don't need to wade into this. This is bullshit. I'm just going to go self-publishing for a while. But it is also not a way to make a reliable income because yes, you get an advance, but that advance normally does not last you until your next book. And unless you sell out of your advance or whatever that's called, where your book starts to make more money and the publishers can start paying you for it again, you're going to probably still need a second job, at least a part-time job as an author. We always see the big, huge success stories that are like making so much money at it, but they are the exception, not the rule, unfortunately. I always got to be the bearer of bad news. If you win the lottery, don't write down your crimes. You got to like hide it well enough that people can't tell that it's you. You got to be really good. Made a whole long list of suggestions. The next theme on the Cappy stream video. Earning out. That's what it's called. Thank you. Insight from WisCon panels. You can always write smut for semi-traditionally published. If you can write smut, you're better off. I cannot, as I am asexual and I'm terrible at that. So unfortunately, you can be a lot more successful if you can write smut and you can write a lot of it, especially if you're self-publishing and you can just keep cranking it out. Like high quality smut, you can get that. I'm not, it might sound like I'm making fun, but I'm not. Like I am super jealous of people who can write good smut because they are the ones who are having the most success. Yeah. I wish I was them. I'm not. Most authors still have a full-time job. Yes, that's correct. Most of them do. Yep. At least a part-time job. Most of them full-time. A lot of authors who are successful as authors have a second income or a second person in the house who's supporting them. I'm not even going to pretend that without my husband here, I would not be able to get as close as I am to being a full-time artist. As long as being able to quit your day job. Don't quit your day job. I don't have a day job right now, and I have been working for years on all of the angles that I've got income coming in from, and I still am not making enough money to never go back to work. So don't count on writing. Don't count on writing. Get other avenues, get other streams, get other ways, and writing can be a supplement to that. Even me, like, I know that my writing's not going to be like, if I do follow my dream and become a full-time artist, it's going to be through multiple avenues. Developmental editing other people's books probably is coming, and obviously I've got Patreon, so my patrons are helping out a whole lot, and I've got a Ko-fi now if people want to support me on there. So yeah, being an artist, you got to have like all kinds of avenues open. Even in the unlikely event you manage to make lots of money as a writer, I'm still going to keep my job for health insurance. Yeah, also that. Do you have any suggestions about YouTube? I want to create a channel about literature. I have many suggestions. I think I have a video that's like about becoming an author tuber that will kind of get you started. So like look around the channel. But the main one is don't expect YouTube to take off right away either. Again, all of the people that you see with the big numbers are the exceptions, not the rule. There's so many people on YouTube that the algorithm just never shows you. You never even find out about because they're smaller. You guys are so chatty tonight, and I love it. I live for it. Quit my day job and focus on writing. Oh, good. Do it. Just never, if anyone asks you, who told you to do that? It wasn't me. Getting into freelance work, yeah. And freelance part-time and write part-time. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Yeah, the freelancing job probably won't go away. Really like your new book cover. Thank you. You said you like a cover is what traditionally makes a good cover. Can you make a video coming up with cover ideas that aren't as good? That might be fun. Like look at what I do for a cover, which is not what is popular. Very excited. Yes. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I'm doing the research. I'm like getting it more available. So anybody who's excited for me to open up my critiques more, you can get them through Patreon. But Adam's chuckling over there, and I'm concerned.
Puppet Master.
Oh, okay, I'll get to that one in a minute. So you can get them through Patreon, but I also recently added it to my Ko-fi. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of Patreon, I recently made a Ko-fi, got that over there. I'm just trying to figure out like the best angle. Right now, I only have it for the first so many pages. Look on there, it'll tell you how many words I'll do. But I'm looking for the best like way to, basically looking for the best method to make sure that I get paid fairly, and both me and the person are protected, because I'm there's Upwork, there's Fiverr, but I heard that Fiverr takes like great hunks of your cash. So like I'm looking for the best way to start to be able to offer like full book developmental edits. But right now, if you at least want the first bit developmentally edited, check out my Ko-fi or my Patreon. I can hook you up. All right, Puppet Master, what did you say? Put birthday stream on all your titles from now on. It's someone's birthday. It is someone's birthday every day. I always hated being born in February because it's like one of my least favorite months in the whole world. They might catch on. But okay. Every stream is a birthday stream, but I tell you whose birthday we're celebrating. So like I go and I find out someone's birthday, celebrity or a fellow author or something like that. And then we celebrate their birthday on a stream. So it's technically a birthday stream. We just don't have to tell people that it's not my birthday before the stream begins. I don't know. Like, I mean, it kind of makes sense. February, I'm cold and bleak. February's cold and bleak here in Wisconsin. So it kind of makes sense, but I always hated it because my brother was born in summer, and he always got to have like an ice cream cake and have a fun birthday and outdoor parties. And here I am stuck in the middle of winter. Nobody wants to come to my party because it's negative a million outside, and I can't have an ice cream cake because it's too cold. So I hated it. Exactly. No one said it had to be your birthday. Exactly. All right. I think my capybara floating in a little in water surrounded by oranges. The sketch is finished. Yeah, he is. Cute. I had to make him smiling a little bit because otherwise it was too hard to tell that he was like happy. I'm just going to ink it right away. I might as well ink it and keep chatting. And then I have birthday cake that I can eat for the stream. You want to watch me eat birthday cake? I hated being born in September when I was a kid because it was just too late for pool. Yeah. We were very poor, so there was no access to a pool for us. We did have a stock tank that we would splash around in. Mine's in October. Halloween is the best month. October's a pretty solid month. I used to have a horse named October. It being in the UK means more often than not, it rains on my birthday. Yeah, then followed by heat waves. Tomorrow's birthday stream will be celebrating TikTok star. Who? I have no idea who that is.
Meow.
Did you just look up random birthdays?
Well, tomorrow's
birthdays.
But a young TikTok star, we can tag their name and get extra trending.
Oh, I'm too old to be like dealing with young TikTok stars. No, thank you. I want to self-publish in the future, and my cover ideas are more artistic than good for marketing because they're so different from the books in that genre. Yeah, that's a problem. I have my books available in a local bookstore, and it's obviously in the like self-published local books section, and like no offense to the other covers, but like they do look very self-published, and I do think that covers looking more self-published, for better or worse, does incline people not to pick them up. So I was like really trying to make the Adventure Mage cover look close-ish to more like professional covers. And a lot of us indie authors are making our own covers, so I understand it's really difficult. It's crazy out there. And if I hadn't happened across that random thing on Canva that was just so perfect for my book, but it's not going to be perfect for everybody's book. So what do you do? Born in August in a hurricane. Okay, that's cool. Just tag Mr. Beast in all of your titles. He's going to see it eventually. And don't. I mean, I've thought about it. I've been like, how do I get the attention of a wealthy philanthropic YouTuber? What kind of sob story can I spin? Like, I grew up in poverty, but I'm not anymore. So like, does my childhood sob story work? I was very poor when I was a child, Mr. Beast. Please give me money. That's the voice I will use. I'm sure it will tug at his heartstrings. Julian, what do you think of marketing the book and how to do it? I don't use TikTok. Should I? I also don't use TikTok, mostly because I don't think my books are very marketable for TikTok, because my books are not romantic. TikTok has a lot of dark romance. It loves dark romance. And I'm like, I just don't think my books would do very well on TikTok. But a lot of people have been having huge success with TikTok. So like, don't discount it just because I don't use it. It might be a really good place to market. I'm shitty at marketing my books. That's one reason that I had wanted to become traditionally published, is that so someone else would market for me. Unfortunately, though, traditional publishing is leaning more on the authors to market themselves. So it's almost not worth it just for the marketing angle, because they're going to want you to have a platform. They're going to want you to market yourself as much as possible. They want to sell you as part of the product now. Mr. Beast, hi, I'm tired. I work 12 hours a day. Give me money. Think that'll work? I spent an entire day peeling up a kitchen floor. Is that enough, like, sob story? I wish the publishers would publish more variety instead of just what's popular. That's the other thing. For indies, my stuff is definitely right now not very enticing to publishers. Again, because I often don't have romance in it, and it's really hard to market something right now without romance in it, because nobody wants to think about any kind of other relationships that could be cool, just romance. So it's also really hard to get your book picked up if it's not 100% mainstream. If you had to pick only one genre to read and to write in, what would it be and why? Probably fantasy. I get bored of reading fantasy and I like to vary it up by reading memoir and thriller, but I could make do. And I write pretty exclusively fantasy already, so I think it'd be pretty easy for me to comfortably stay in that zone. What do you think of the self-help versus fiction battle? There's a battle? And I wasn't invited? Where's the battle? Adam, there's a battle. I need weapons. Where are my daggers? I don't have any daggers near me. I have a pen, and they say it's mightier than a sword. I didn't know there was a battle. Someone please explain what there's a self-help battle happening? That's why I'm going indie. If I have to market myself either way, I might as well write weird niche books and publish them myself. Amen. That is where I am at right now. That might change. I'm not saying don't traditionally publish or that I will never traditionally publish. I'm just saying right now, that is where I am at. 100%. I'm doing a very bad job of inking this capybara. I do a couple of lines and then I get distracted by the chat. But honestly, it's a good problem to have. Like, if you have an engaged chat, I think you're doing good, right? I don't know how streams work. Because where we used to live, we didn't have good enough internet to stream anything. So I'm getting used to it. The other day, I was talking with my friend, the one whose mother just died. And I was like trying to figure out, like, I want to talk to her. I know she's having a really hard time, but like she doesn't really have like the mental energy to like answer her like messages that I send her or whatever. But I want to like let her know that I'm there for her. And then I was just like, we can FaceTime, we can voice chat now that I'm not stuck in the middle of, I'm in a different middle of nowhere, but this middle of nowhere has internet. So I messaged her. I'm like, voice chat later. And she's like, yeah. So, but I need to remember that that's an option. I cannot market my books to save my life mood. And I really don't want to market myself as an author. I'm too much of a hermit and would rather shove a book out every year and then go into hibernation. I wish that we could do that. I wish the days of that kind of publishing were, I wish I could do that and be successful. We can still do that, but like, it's really annoying. And I feel bad for all of the authors who just want to be hermits. I do too, but also I'm a bit of a ham and I like talking to people online. So at least that part is easy for me. But like, I have author friends who are like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you can't really do that anymore if you want to be successful as an author, and it sucks. Oh my God, Facebook. Fucking shut up.
We've muted it before. Cora has a question that is it expensive to self-publish?
It can be. It depends on what skills you have.
They can't hear me, I don't think, by the way.
Who can't hear you?
I don't think they can. So you might want to tell them.
Okay. Adam is reading questions very quietly. Let me see, which one is it?
Cora, is it expensive to self-publish?
Is it expensive to self-publish? It can be. Like I said, it depends on what skills you have. So I've got a lot of useful skills, but also some I'm learning and also some I do not have and probably never will. So I have to pay for a line editor because I cannot notice typos. I can't. Some people can self-edit their own books like that, and I cannot do it. So that's a skill that I have to outsource. I normally outsource my covers, but this time I decided to make my own because my cover artist is going to school right now. But I'm not going to do that every time. So I have to pay someone for that. I am learning to format my own books, so I'm not paying for formatting. But that's another thing that you might have to outsource. It really depends on what skills you have and what skills you're willing to learn. So yeah, this time I challenge, it can be free if you have enough skills, but I really recommend at least getting a copy editor to get like all of the typos and grammatical errors out, if nothing else.
Do you know how much any of those cost?
I can't tell you how much any of those cost off the top of my head, though, because my copy editor gives me a really good deal because I know her in person. Know somebody, that's helpful too. Know a freelance editor and befriend them so they will give you a good deal. Also, I don't put a lot of pressure on her. Like with my last edit, I didn't even give her a deadline. I was just like, when you get to it. So that's another thing. If you're willing to be really flexible, they might give you more of a deal. All right, I'm way behind on the chat.
Brianna Stinson asked, since you like retellings, what is something that is a deal breaker for you in retelling?
So what's a deal breaker for me in retellings? I do like it to at least relate to the story, the original story, in some non-surface level way. Like, I'm pretty interested in the ideas that people come up with, but at the same time, like, I read a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, I think, that I had to be told afterwards that that was what it was supposed to be, because I did not get that from the book. So, like, if I can't even figure out that it's maybe a retelling, I feel like it's not really a retelling at that point. And like, I still really liked that book, but I was surprised afterward to learn that it was supposed to be a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. All right, what else we got? What else we got?
You might just want to look at Brianna Stinson's and then just catch up with the chat after questions. A lot of it's just people chatting.
Yeah, people chatting back and forth. I usually don't have such an active chat, so.
Well, 23 people now.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Julian just discovered your channel recently. Yay! Happy birthday! Yay! Aw, and you've gone back to editing your first serious manuscript. Yay! All the yays!
Also, congratulate Yorana for knowing more than one language, because damn.
Adam says congratulations to whom?
Yorana.
Yorana for knowing more than one language. KJ says covers can be between 100 and 500. Yes. My cover artist, who is my sister, I usually pay her around 200 for the covers that I have. So the covers for The Wolf and the Hawk and Boots both cost me roughly $200. The other really expensive thing that sucks that it's so expensive is if you want an audiobook and you cannot do that yourself, either you don't have the technology or the skills to do an audiobook yourself. That is so expensive. It was, to get an audiobook for The Wolf and the Hawk, it was $800. And so I have hesitated to get audiobooks for my other books because they are definitely not paying for that themselves. But I might try a different angle with Adventurer Mage because I do want to have an audiobook of that. And also Audible just put out an announcement to all of us creators that they're going to be lowering the prices and the prices on books, whether we like it or not. And it's a good thing, actually, because if they lower the prices, then more people will buy the books. And it's not that they're just trying to make us creators make even less money than we already do. I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, I'm probably going to try to go with a different angle besides Amazon's Audible publishing if I do an audiobook for Adventurer Mage.
Firelight asks, Rumpelstiltskin retelling Spinning Silver?
No, I have read that one as well. Actually, it was, what was it called? Small Favors. And I really liked that book, actually, but I did not know that it was supposed to be a retelling until I finished it and like was reading another review of it. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I see it now that it's pointed out to me, but did not.
Puppet Master wants to know, what's a character from any story that you wish you had created first?
There's a lot of them. Who do I wish I created? I don't know.
I was thinking either Alana or the Terrier.
I mean, I love Tamara Pierce's characters, so I would take credit for any of them. And most of Terry Pratchett's characters, he's really good at characters. So I would love to take credit for any of those. I don't know if there's any like specific one where I'm like, damn, I wish I'd written that. There probably is, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm just gonna have Adam keep an eye on the chat and tell me any interesting questions now. I've given up.
Well, I mean, if
I can't keep up and ink a capybara at the same time, Adam.
you can take a break to just read. I don't think we have any questions, but it'd be good for you to know what people are saying.
I'm almost done inking this capybara. So many oranges. Ink faster.
GE, it cost Casey is just like, they think Audible seems to hate authors.
Oh, it does. It was already taking way more money than it needed to. And now it's like, we're going to lower the prices and that helps authors, really. And I'm like, no, Audible, it does not. You are a liar and full of shit. But I love being able to have audiobooks because I love audiobooks. And so many of my readers are like, we want your audiobook. I'm like, I know, I do too. So I will have to find the one thing that going through Audible is helpful with is that it supplies you with voice actors that you can like choose from, a roster that you can speak to and choose from, and they'll like send you auditions and stuff like that. But I can find somebody on Fiverr. Like I don't need to go through that system. Amazon in general wants to screw writers over. It's true. I hate that it's the best and cheapest and easiest way to self-publish your books. But it is. It's the easiest and it's the cheapest because you can self-publish on Amazon for free.
We kind of moved past it, but I want to call out Peony, who mentions that they'd rather not know it's a retelling going in so they don't have false expectations. Gotta call Peony out because I think their caricature emoji, whatever you call the little face icon, is really cute. I like it. Good choice. But we do have a question. Margaret Lynn near the bottom. I had a novel called Tales of Horror. I incorporated 3 novellas into it, and I've not made 1 cent. What advice can you give me?
Bad at marketing, but get on as many platforms and get as many followers as possible. YouTube is my linchpin platform. YouTube is the platform from which I have success at other platforms. People find out about my other platforms via my YouTube. I only have patrons because of YouTube. I literally pretty much only have book sales because of YouTube. So get you a linchpin platform where you can really focus and get like the most followers that you can, and then use that to sort of aggregate yourself into other platforms. And that's like the best way that I have found. I am not a marketing genius. So understand that I do not have very many book sales, but if you can get yourself out there as much as possible.
So your real advice to Margaret is become a marketing genius.
Yes.
Or marry / seduce a marketing genius.
Marry or seduce a marketing genius. Befriend a marketing genius. Not enough people in my life are marketing geniuses. I have not found one yet. Try to find somebody who's good at it if you're not. I'm sure you can pay someone to market your book, actually. There's freelancers for everything. So especially if you do your own audiobook, the amount of hours you sink into your audiobook is never covered by the royalties. Yeah, for sure. I've thought about doing my own audiobooks. I don't really have the setup because I want them to be high quality. And so I would have to figure out where I could go that could be soundproofed and like make sure I have all the best recording equipment, which I don't right now. So have you always drawn? I'm starting to learn how to draw, especially because I want to visualize better my characters and because I want to have more than one hobby. I have always drawn. I've drawn since I was a little kid. I'm still just an amateur because I don't put effort into getting better at drawing. I'm like happy at the level that I'm at. My sister, who did my book covers, is the one who took my whole family's kind of artistic, but she just took it to the next level. Like she is what I could be if I actually got off my ass and practiced, but I put all my skill points into writing instead of drawing. So, but when I was a kid, I started out by tracing coloring books. So just teaching my hands to make the shapes by tracing coloring books. And then I learned how to take those shapes and manipulate them to draw whatever I wanted, kind of. I'm bad at drawing people.
Part of Yorana's goal is to visualize their characters better.
Mhm.
Pinterest and idea boards might be something that
Yeah.
can help them.
Yeah, definitely. Like for visualizing your characters, I like to find it, some people do this. They'll find like just either actors that look like their characters, or even if you just like search for like aesthetics and stuff like that, you'll find people, just Google and you'll find people that look like your characters, and you can make then your vision boards or whatever you want to make with that.
Before we get into an argument, Margaret Ling is asking if you managed to get a contract from a publishing company. I think that's a follow-up to their the marketing question we talked about.
Are they asking if I managed to get a contract?
You were the chat, but you can always answer.
Okay, I have not. Absolutely not. But maybe someone in the chat has. And then I'm not keeping up with the chat.
So, this is our argument. Aura Fantastic is asking, will ChatGPT replace writers and cover artists? Are you aware of AI? And I think ChatGPT might, if we're lucky, replace line editors.
Oh, that would be so nice if I could have a robot line edit my books for free. I don't think they're going to replace writers. I'm not worried about that. I'm a little bit worried about cover art, but we'll see. We'll see. Or character art, things that people would normally pay for, character art that people might normally pay for, they can now make with AI. And same for covers potentially. I'm not really worried that they're gonna writing is so individual and so creative that I don't see how a robot could how a program could ever replace like all types of writers, all kinds of ideas. Like I don't see how that could ever happen. Just kind of staring at the chat, not actually processing.
J.E. Garazi asks, you say you are a character-focused writer-reader. What are a few things that define a well-written character to you?
I think that I have videos about this, I think, as well. So like if you want more stuff about writing characters that's more succinct and put together than this, I have lots of videos about it. So feel free to roam my channel. But for me, strong characters are characters who are not trying to be an archetype, characters who are not trying to fit a mold. They're just people. And maybe they do fall into an archetype afterward, but I struggle with my characters. Some people can sit down and say 3 attributes of my character. They are this, this, and this. And you ask me to do that for my characters. I'm like, that would be like taking a person that I met, that would be like taking my friend, an actual human person, and trying to distill them down into 3 character traits. And I can't do it. And I think that's like one of the ways if I have a tough time being like, I have to distill that character down into 3 traits, but I can't because there's too much to them. I think that's a strong character. One cheap and easy way to build a interesting or seemingly complex character is contradictions. So, and I talk about this in my video about creating likable side characters. So if you need to create a character quick that's going to seem deeper than maybe they are, contradictions are your friend. So they're a big tough guy, but they have a tiny pet cat. They're a strong warrior, but they like to cross stitch. They're a healer, but they swear like a sailor. Like contradictions are going to make them seem more whole people.
I want to call out KJ Amadon has done a do-it-yourself audiobook recording setup. They basically built a blanket fort in their room to do their audio recordings in.
I've considered the blanket fort idea. We have walk-in closets now that we have moved, so I could do what so many people do and sit in a closet and record in there. But that means I have to get a recording set up in my closet, which I might do. I might do that.
Ingrid has joined us to do their own writing or to do their own drawing and listen to the stream.
Nice. Welcome. I don't know how much longer we're going to go. I don't like to do like super long streams, but if people are engaged, we can keep vibing.
We can see if we can top 25. We bumped to 24, but we haven't kept it. But
it's a solid stream. I got to say it's my birthday more often.
Abby is asking any advice for dummies who have the story but cannot seem to sit down and write?
There is no magical cure for that. You just have to sit down and write. That's the thing. Unfortunate, but you got to make yourself sometimes, and it's not going to flow. It's going to sunk. It's going to be awkward, and you're going to feel stupid, and you're not going to know how to put the words together. So just put whatever words together you can, because your first book is not going to be your best book in a million years. Your first book's not going to be your most important book. It's probably not even going to be your favorite book. If you get practicing is the key. You're never going to be good unless you practice. So just do it, as Shia LaBeouf would famously shriek.
Yorana asks a little bit, we're getting a little behind, but we'll do our best to keep up. Do you have any stories that are very personal to you that you would never share with anyone besides your husband?
No. I'm an open book. Is that a cliche? Like Adventure of Mage is a very personal story to me, and I'm going to publish it.
What about Child of Fire or The White Rose?
They're not being published, not because they're personal to me, but because they're shit, Adam. If they were good, I would publish them. So it's more like, are there stories you're too embarrassed to show the world? Then the answer is yes. Because I wrote them when I was younger, and they are garbage. But yeah.
Ingrid shares that they also struggle with simplifying simple character traits, so they're glad they're not alone.
Yeah, I feel like if you can't distill your character down, it might mean, not necessarily always, you might just have a character that's too thin, but it might mean that you have a character that's too robust to distill down into 2 or 3 things.
All right, so Aura Fantastica has 2-ish questions here. One, who is your favorite booktuber? But I think they were asking that between, they gave you 2 suggestions, Daniel Green or Jenna, but I think I know the pick between those 2, but then you can give us your actual favorite booktuber on top.
Okay, so favorite booktuber, they want me to pick between Daniel Green or Jenna. Well, I don't particularly like Jenna, no offense. I still enjoy some of her videos, especially the ones where she doesn't blame pantsing for the downfall of writing. She did one recently that I actually found useful. I think that was like more about publishing, and I was like, yeah, okay. But I don't actually watch Daniel Green. I'm not subscribed to him. Sometimes his videos, Adam makes me watch, and sometimes his videos come up on my feed, and I'll watch it, but I'm not actually subscribed to him. He's fine. He's just not really the type of author tuber that I like to follow. And do I have a favorite author tuber? Myself. I don't think I have a favorite, but very, very soon, it's already recorded. I am going to be having a video coming out about smaller author and booktubers that I watch. So keep an eye out for that, because I want to support some guys that are littler than me that really should be getting more views than they're getting. So that's coming out sometime. It's already recorded. It's just whenever it ends up falling with all the other videos that I have pre-recorded.
So we've had some good conversation in the chat around the earlier question of how do you motivate yourself to write or get over the, like, I had an idea but I can't write it block. It might be something that everyone, it's obviously unique for everyone.
Yeah, it is going to be individual.
But an idea would be to gather insights, the struggles, and from your viewers and the techniques they've used to overcome them, and kind of put it together as a collage of ideas of what have worked for some people.
That's true. I might on this channel, I often have videos where I have people leave me their thoughts and then I read them. We've got one coming up about chapter titles. So keep an eye. I'll probably put this, help me remember, Adam. In my community tab, I'll ask people for your best advice for how to get yourself to write, to sit down and write. And then I can make a whole video about it, and that'll be cool. So remember your thoughts from here today, and we'll put them on the community tab.
Peony, this is kind of more of a question for me, but they ask, what's your favorite part about world building / least favorite part? Your least favorite part is probably the world building, but
I love culture building. I hate all that dumb nitty gritty political stuff. I don't want to know about the monuments. I don't want to know about the laws. Like, no, I don't want to spend hours describing a tower and why it's important to their society. And I don't care. I want to know about the people and what they're doing day to day and what their lives are.
Peony is chasing after Tolkien with their favorite being making languages.
Oh, I also suck at languages, so I guess that's pretty low on my list too. Rubbish at it, I say. Tolkien, I ain't.
Aura Fantastica asks, "What is your reading speed?" They hate having to rush.
My reading speed is slow. I'm a slow reader. I'm dyslexic. And I'm a slow reader, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I refuse to be ashamed of it. It takes me as long as it takes me to finish a book. And I feel that you should also be like, I don't make all those goals that people have on Goodreads and stuff for all the reads they want to have in a year. Why? That's pressure you don't need. That's giving yourself rules you don't. Well, people already given you enough rules. I have cake.
Okay. We'll give a moment for a couple questions. And a couple more ideas around getting yourself to keep writing, streaming consciousness. Chloe says they also enjoy making languages, but whether they're good at it is another matter, but they still just love doing it. They also apparently like traumatizing their characters, and they love doing family histories and how they've screwed up the current characters.
Oh, dude, I love traumatizing my characters. I hesitate to say that's a universal thing, but I think most of us authors are a little bit sadistic. And like, functional families, who are they? They're very seldom in my books. Bad dads are a big theme in like all of my books. And like, the villains in Adventure Mage are what would happen if you gave a very privileged person, if you had a emotionally abused, very privileged person. That turns out to be the villains in my book. So yeah, nobody's mentally okay. And my main characters have trauma, and I love it.
Well, and we have officially hit the 25 mark.
Woo! And we're not even at an hour.
Margaret Ling mentions some of their own struggles. They have lazy eyes as well, and I think you're an inspiration for working through some of your own difficulties and continuing to write. So let's just give a good little ego boost there.
Yay!
Aura Fantastica is curious, how does dyslexia affect your reading and writing? And how do I, speaking of Aura, know if I'm dyslexic or not?
I'm pretty sure it affects my writing in that I cannot see typos. You know how dyslexia often makes you rearrange letters? When you look at a page, the letters will jumble themselves up, jump around, move around. I think my dyslexia literally makes them arrange themselves into the configurations that I think they ought to be in. And anybody else who looks at my early drafts is like, oh my God, how can I read this? They're nigh impenetrable. So I think that's a major factor that it affects my writing. But also like I also have like, I think it's called dyscalculia. So it's numbers and I forget about it. But then the other day I was looking at a number, I was trying to enter a number in the computer and it had 3 3s in a row. And my brain could not figure out how many 3s there were. I'm like, okay, I'm staring at this. Like, how many 3s are there? I'm trying to count the 3s. No, they're all melding together into one blob that's vaguely 3 shaped. And I'm like, it could be 3, could be 2, could be 5. How many 3s are there? And I guessed correctly at 3 3s, but it took me way longer than it should have. So I think those are the two like main ways that they affect my life, but everybody's a little bit different with their dyslexia. So
do you have any insight in how someone could tell if they're dyslexic or not?
The ways that I can tell are like I talked about. So like when you read or you look at numbers, they move, they change, they morph. You really struggle to like be able to see and understand the letters can be a sign. I also have a lot of trouble breaking things down into steps, which is a symptom of dyslexia. So when I was learning math, especially because the numbers already hated me. And then you have to break a lot of things down into steps. And my brain is like, no, just do. There is no steps. There is only beginning and end. And I was like, I cannot just do. I think that I might actually contribute to why I'm a pantser, because if I plot, it's breaking it down into steps, and my brain just doesn't do that, which is also annoying in my real life. But some ways you can tell, but I am not an expert. I just have it. I don't know all of the ways to tell if you have it.
Janice has chimed in a little bit because their daughter is dyslexic, and her daughter reads in sepia. So there's a font that's designed for dyslexics, and they say it helps. And she also used an eye patch and turned her books she's reading upside down, and that has helped for them.
I can read upside down pretty easily, so I can see that.
Jumping back a little bit, several people are chiming in and kind of confirming that, yeah, they think it's pretty universal for writers to torture their characters and give them traumatic backstories. KJ does it, and Firelight says pretty much everyone in their books have trauma, so.
Nobody in our books are okay.
Ora Fantastica wants to know, where are you from and how are people there? How are they there? We don't know. It's too cold for people to be here. But...
I live in Wisconsin. That's in the United States if you're not from around these parts. Cold here is what it is most of the time. We get very hot summers and very cold winters. And the people here are friendly, mostly. Also conservative. Not great. But we do have the whole stereotypes about being Midwestern. You got to hold doors open for people while they're still miles away. Like, we're very personable people.
KJ is asking, they've always been curious if other writers do this. When you get a new story idea, does it marinate in your brain for a few years before you start writing it? Or do you work on it right away?
So this is going to be different for everybody, and I'm sure everybody's going to have a different answer. I can only allow myself to write one book at a time, because I used to try to do multiple books at a time, and then I never finished any of them. So I was like, new rule, one book at a time. And that works for me. So when I have a new idea, I try really hard not to let it marinate, because if I let it marinate, then it'll start to become too enticing, and I'll want to write it. And I can't, because I have to stay in love with my current book. So a lot of times, to get it out of my head, I'll just write down what ideas I have in a Word document. And usually it's just a paragraph. It's like, this is a character, this is her name, these are some things that might happen to her. And that usually excises the demons until I'm ready to write my next book. But I'm sure it's very different for everybody.
I'm trying not, because I'm slow jumping between some of our conversations. Janice also mentions that they had a learning disorder themselves. And you might find some of their techniques familiar for you. They found listening to someone reading it or reading it out loud helps, and they're using the new reading app for Microsoft Word a lot.
Audiobooks are my go-to. I love audiobooks because they're just an easier way for me to read. So I am jealous of the people who can just sit down and relax and read a book, because I struggle. So audiobooks are the way to go for me for sure. And when I'm editing my own book, right now I am going back through Adventure Mage one last time, and I'm having Microsoft Word read it to me so I can notice things way more easily than my eyes would ever notice.
So Urana is asking if they are a planner, or what is a planner, because they daydream out the whole story and then write it out afterwards.
I think people would probably classify that somewhere in the plantster area. But really, it's a little bit pantsery too, because I don't write anything down, but I often know things about my story beforehand. But you could probably call yourself a plantster because you know the whole book, but you just haven't written it down in a, concrete outline.
Hirani chimes in that it's comforting to see people with trauma still going on adventures, making connections. I don't know if that's the point of giving them trauma, to comfort people, but...
The point of giving my characters trauma is a lot of times to work through my own trauma. So, spoilers, both Valentine and Maeve have some of my issues, I guess you could say. They're both me. Figure out which ones are them and which ones are me.
They're both self-insert characters, but in reality, it's all of your flaws.
It's all my trauma and all of my mental health issues.
Aura Fantastica is curious, what is your favorite book of all time?
You can't ask a reader to pick their favorite book of all time. It's impossible. But if I was going to recommend a book that I really like, the Becca Cooper series by Tamara Pierce. Read it. It's good.
Yeah.
If you like my books, you'll probably like those books. If you like those books, you'll probably like my books. That's like the closest to a read-alike, I think.
Young Julian would have probably picked a Brian Jacks.
Yeah, Brian Jakes would have been a fave when I was younger. My favorite one of those was Lord Brocktree because it was all about friendship, and the friendship between Dottie the hare and Lord Brocktree the badger is just so wholesome and pure, and I love it.
Aw, Cat struggles with audiobooks. Their brain doesn't like it, and envy you that can just put an audiobook on while they do something.
I have a friend who cannot listen to audiobooks. I'm like, how? She's like, I can't do it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That makes me sad because I love audiobooks. But yeah, I do have a video on my channel. I have a video for everything that is ideas about how to get better at listening to audiobooks if you want to like train your brain. And some of them might help you. I don't know. But I think my parents inadvertently trained me to be a good audiobook listener when I was a kid by just putting on audiobooks for us and making us like sit down and listen to them. And then after that, we could sort of graduate to doing stuff while listening to audiobooks. Until now, I can be doing whole tasks and keeping track of an audiobook and paying attention to the craft in that audiobook while I'm doing whole tasks.
Chloe mentions they have to listen to audiobooks at like 1.5 or double speed, depending on the
I do speed them up, yeah. Adam doesn't, and it's weird.
Janice falls asleep while listening to audiobooks. They definitely prefer reading. Aura Fantastica asks, which is your favorite, Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson? Who are
Evil bad people whom I do not like. I mean, they're both
unfavorite.
They're both equally despisable. So I cannot pick a favorite. Even one that I hate slightly less than the other one. They are on equal footing, and they are below the ground in my esteem.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Peony wants to know, how do you feel about graphic audiobooks?
I'm not familiar.
Oh, I think The Hate We Bring for Carrie, or what was the one we read for the book club? Graphic as in like traumatic or gory or
do you mean graphic like gory, or do you mean graphic like graphic novel? That's where I'm getting confused.
Audiobooks that have environmental sounds like footsteps or
okay. I get it. I like those a lot. I like full cast audiobooks where I can get them. I like sound effects. Yeah, I'm in favor of that. I just read Cats. That's about the two people I was asked to choose between. And it's accurate. Yep.
Ingrid is also calling out praise to audiobooks. Couldn't have made it through university without it.
Mm-hmm. I love me some audiobooks, which is why I feel it's so important to get my books to be audiobooks if I can. So know that I am pursuing it and I want to. So don't lose hope on more of my books being audiobooks.
Yorana, if you can hear me, I actually have a question for you. You mentioned it is. You asked if it's bad when you read a book and you can barely understand or imagine what's going on. And I'm curious, do you have that problem when you're reading in your native tongue as well? If I remember correct, you're multilingual.
Hopefully you can hear what Adam said. Otherwise, I was just staring off to the side for a very long time for no reason.
But so Yorana, if they didn't hear me, their question to you, Julian, is it bad when you read a book and you can barely understand or imagine what's going on?
Have you ever looked at, I think it's called I've heard it called being blind in the mind. And it's just like different people have different abilities to visualize stuff. So like picture an apple. When you picture an apple in your mind, do you picture just a vague shape? Is it black and white? Can you barely make it out? And then it goes up the spectrum all the way to what I can see, which is a fully realized apple in Technicolor, looking so real that like I could smell it or feel the breeze. Like my imagination is incredibly vivid, but I know some people can't, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's just different people's minds like can and can't do that. I can hear Adam, but faintly. You should speak up more, Adam. People want to hear your voice.
GE asks or mentions they think it's called antiphagia.
Antiphagia? Is that when you can't visualize in your head? I don't know. But I have the opposite of that, and I'm very lucky too, because it makes writing my books like so enjoyable. It's like watching a movie that I get to decide all of the things that happen in it.
Janice asks, when you read, do you have a movie going on in your mind?
Yep.
And yeah, I'm the same. I actually, if I really get into the book, the words disappear and I only see the movie and don't realize I'm reading.
Mm-hmm. You could roll your chair over here and just like read slightly off screen so people can hear you better, Adam.
Mine's gonna play video games instead of paying full attention to it.
Well, you're stuck now. I mean, it's been an hour, so we don't have to keep going. We still have 20 people.
I was gonna threaten. We dipped below 20, and I was gonna threaten that. Well, we're below 20, and we're
time
gonna
to go, but then we're back at 20.
We actually got up to 22 for a moment ago. But we're threatening, Chad. You gotta keep us engaged.
Keep it moving, guys.
Keep people joining.
Got to keep this entertaining for anybody who wants to watch back through this. If anybody wants to watch the replay of the chat or the stream.
Yeah, Chloe is also in the film category when they read.
Mm-hmm.
Janice wants to know, when you read, do you have a movie going on in your mind when you read and or when you write?
Yep.
For both, when you write as well?
Oh yeah. I think that's another reason that I'm a pantser, is because like, why would I ruin the movie by like figuring out all the parts beforehand when I could just experience the movie for the first time and I'm writing it? I get to decide everything that happens in it.
Aura Fantastica asks, what shows do you watch?
Right now we're watching Vox Machina. So that's fun.
And before that was Masters of Sex.
Yes, because Michael Sheen is in it and I'm obsessed with Michael Sheen. I'm going to be sending him Adventure a Mage, so he can maybe use it as a doorstop or a coaster or throw it away. I don't care. But I'm sending it to him.
Jumping back a little bit, Kat mentions that if they concentrate to try making the mental image, they can get a desaturated grading image, but they got to work at it.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I do think it makes it a little tougher as a writer if you struggle to picture, because you can sometimes forget to describe things. And then those of us who see the movie, we're like, I need more description because I want to know what I'm picturing. And like I had this problem a while ago. I was reading a book where they didn't describe the characters, and my brain was just like, they are faceless mannequins wandering around a void, because I was given nothing. And that can be a problem.
Any chance from Firelight, any chance we'll see you doing a read along for The Cabin?
Maybe. It's definitely a maybe. It's still in my list. I definitely wanted to stick with really like popular stuff for this next read along, because I had so much success with Lightlark. Oh my gosh, I erased that book from my mind as a defense mechanism. But yeah, I had so much success with Lightlark that I wanted to do another like popular one. But The Cabin is still a possibility.
So KJ has a question that we kind of talked over before, but it's a process question. Do you try to have sit down and write time every day, or do you just sit down when you feel like writing?
When I was working full time, I wrote every weekday for my sanity more than anything else, because like writing is what makes me happy. Excuse me. So if I'm feeling happy, I don't need to write as much. It's weird. So I've not been working, and I haven't been writing as frequently, but I write in longer sessions. So I'm still keeping up, but I can sit down and write a long 2-3 hours versus writing every day. But when I was working full time, I was doing like half an hour sessions at a time, but every day.
Janice has a suggestion for you. You're a discovery writer, dear.
Oh,
not
yes.
a pantser.
I'm aware that the discovery writing is another word for it. I like pantsing because I'm a very silly person, and it sounds silly. And I like to be silly. I don't take myself too seriously around here. I'm wearing horns. Some people are like, it's discovery writer. I'm like, you can call yourself that, but I'm a pantser because it's silly.
I just want to take a moment to grieve with Patricia, who is a writer with absolutely no mind image.
Oh, I know, it's tough. I feel for you. I'm very lucky that I just happened to win the lottery and have a very, very vivid internal picture, imagination, whatever you want to call it.
Firelight is a plotter with the movie ability, and they just have all of everything that could have happened as deleted scenes.
My books do have deleted scenes that I just put somewhere else. I often have to take scenes out of my books after I've written them, and I just put them in a different Word document. They're there for me. Those are my scenes now. Director's cut.
G.E. Cosse. I'm bad at this. Chimes in that they like the term discovery writer because it's easier for people to understand who aren't familiar with all the lingo.
The look of bafflement is part of the enjoyment for me. I like to be two things: confusing and a silly little guy all the time. That's my main mode.
Aura Fantastica asks, do you like James Toulos from AuthorTube?
I'm not familiar. I do not follow any men. No offense to guy AuthorTubers, they just don't hold my interest. The guys got to step up their game. I don't know what it is, but I'll try to watch male AuthorTubers, and I get bored.
What about the Hello Future Me that you watch over my shoulders?
I'm not subscribed to him. I wouldn't watch him organically on my own.
No?
I don't mind listening when you have him on, but I just don't. It's weird, but they just don't hold my interest. Don't know why. Nothing against them. They're fine YouTubers and writers, I'm sure, and give very good advice. They just don't hold my interest.
The chat is chatting, and we're back above 20 again.
Oh.
If you want to catch up for a moment in the chat.
What you chatting about, chat? Ooh, graphic novel. Nice. I don't have the patience for a graphic novel to draw that many pictures. I barely have the patience to draw 10 capybaras.
I knew a couple who was like, one was the graphic artist and one was the writer, and it was like a full-time gig for the two of them to put out content.
I know a graphic artist, Conquer They Fear Studios. You should check him out. He's cool. He's a very small YouTuber. But yeah, it's a lot. He's trying to make like his own heart comic, heart graphic novel, and it's a lot.
It's fun. Chat.
LOL bafflement. Yep. I live for the bafflement. Yeah, I agree. GE, it's hard for me to read the chat. Dyslexia again. Yay. Not to worry too much about too little or too much description until you're editing. I agree. I can be a little bit, I can be both. I can over-describe or I can under-describe, and I just fix it later. You do not have to write anything remotely good your first draft. You can fix it all later. That's okay.
So we have caught up to the chat and conversation.
Yay.
We are over 20 people with the live stream. So I'll make Julian stick around for a little bit longer. But if you've got any last insights or suggestions,
burning questions or videos you want to see, or ideas for other streams that we could do,
ideas for other streams, ideas for the next set of postcards going out, ideas for videos, throw your stuff at us. Otherwise, when we dip below 20 and catch up with the chat, we may call
we
it
may
a night.
say goodnight. We have more Vox Machina episodes to watch.
Yes.
At least one more. We're catching up.
And chocolate cake to eat, because it's a horrible idea to keep eating it while you're
It's-
actually
Yeah,
chatting
well, and
on
look at
stream.
the size of this thing. It's
I
huge.
can't see it.
Look, it's huge. Giant cake. I cannot eat this much cake. Nope, we're up to 22. Everybody tell your friends. Go watch Julian's stream.
The cake lured people in.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Amadon is asking if you're a Pisces. Do you know? Are you actually a Pisces?
No.
You're not a Pisces?
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius.
Patricia wants more videos of you and me together, so you might have to come up with some ideas.
I do need to come up with more like couple ideas videos. We should do some more like tags where we both answer the questions. Tags aren't as popular anymore, so I've kind of backed off of them. But maybe if it was you and me. Dang it, I don't know any other Pisces. My bestie's also an Aquarius, so we can just be weird together.
Oh, Aura Fantastica wants you to do reviews about shows and series.
I've thought about it, but it's daunting because to do a good job, you should have footage, which means you have to collect the footage, which means you have the technology to collect the footage. And lately, all of my technology that I used to use for collecting footage has been fighting me. So that's why I kind of haven't really done it, because I want to do a good job and I want to have quality output. And to do that, I feel like I need to have footage of whatever I'm talking about.
So you make another channel that is like Crappy Julian knockoff and just do low quality reviews of shows.
Of movies and shows. I mean, I could. It would make sense to put it on a second channel because you should keep your channel as focused as possible. So that's another reason I don't do it, is because it's not what I normally do. And so it would mess with my algorithm, and my algorithm is already shitty. Uh-oh, we dipped below 20. We dipped.
Uh-oh.
We dipped.
We'll be catching up with the last of our questions, and we may wander away to eat cake, to focus on the cake.
Eat cake and watch Vox Machina.
Oh,
We're back on to 19. Can we get there?
Ingrid is a fan of take videos, so they would be down.
I
Firelight.
should like write these down.
You can always review the chat later too.
I usually don't save the chat.
Oh, you should save the chat. I can download it and do analytics on it. And give it
Next
to,
time-
give it to the chat GTP.
Next time, I think you have to choose that beforehand. Next time, I will tell it to save the chat. I'm sorry.
Horrible.
I am.
Firelight wants to watch Watchmen after this because they just finished the book. Mercy Cunningham is still of the opinion you should react to Spartacus Blood and Sand.
Oh, yeah, because that's what Jenna's books are like based on.
Oh,
So just see like how much she cribs from that.
And Chloe also likes tag videos with both of us.
Hey, good. I've written it down now, so it's going in the notebook.
Urana suggests maybe more vlogs of your writing or drawing routine would be interesting.
I've thought about trying to do a daily routine, but right now, when I'm not working, my days are so random. So any daily routine you got for me would not be the same as the next day.
You could put up multiple routine videos every week.
Good.
And be like, today we're ripping up floor.
Today I ripped up a floor.
Yeah.
Come watch me rip up a floor. Today I painted. Oh, wow. And my writing schedule is just all over the place right now. So it's kind of hard to like sit down and.
And KJ is giving us a hard time because we're back over 21 now.
It's true. We are.
Louisa, I'd like to see a review of a book while you wash your dishes or tidy up a room or paint a wall. Anything related. So review a book while you renovate. You could.
I've thought about doing that, trying to kill two birds with one stone and like record as I am doing a chore, you know?
At the very least, you could do a time lapse of you doing a floor and then do your review over the top of it.
Yeah. I'm going to be redoing the kitchen really soon. So maybe we can do some like kitchen reno type of like time lapse review. I don't know, combine them somehow.
So, Aura Fantastica is it curious whether you are a magical being from a different dimension where fairies exist?
I am a representative of the Goblin Kingdom.
I was going to say that it was your youngest sister who is the
My
member of
youngest
the Fae
sister is
Kingdom.
definitely a Fae child. She's a fairy for sure, but I am a representative of the Goblin Kingdom.
Margaret Ling wants to know who is the man who is helping you? Is he with the publishing company?
Who's the man? Are you the man?
I think Margaret's referring to me.
Okay,
yes.
get over here. This is my husband, and he's useless. He does not help me with publishing at all. He has no connections, nothing. I married the wrong person. He does not get me into the publishing industry one smidge. He's just over here vibing, helping me with my birthday stream.
I could help you leverage AI to enhance your books.
Yeah, hurry up with that. Let's go. Let's get AI to proofread for me so I don't have to hire people.
It's on my test.
It's on the list. But yeah, no. If you're in the market for a husband and you're a writer, marry someone who's actually in the industry. That's my pro tip for you. Oh, they say hi, Adam.
Janice is also in favor of you doing the Spartacus book review.
Where's it streaming? I need to figure out where it's streaming. Mayo, poor Adam. He's useful for other things, but as far as publishing goes, utter useless. Also, his spelling is atrocious. He can't help me with that. I have to spell check for him. That's how bad his spelling is. So you know it's dire.
Got a couple suggestions before the rant. Review Jenna's writing book.
I've thought about it, but I don't read craft books, so I feel like it would be kind of disingenuous to review something that I don't read others of, you know?
But well, I would be curious if you are familiar with Jenna's content from
Mhm.
reading their other books and following their channel, is that you read the title of each chapter and put like 5 predictions down, and then
I can tell you what's in it. She's going to tell you that you have to plot, and if you pants your book, you're wrong. That's what's in it. But I'm sure if you're a plotter, it's a very helpful book. Like I'm certain that for plotters, it's so helpful. I just wish that she would acknowledge that other types of writers exist. That's all I want.
Janice wonders if I help you with your tech, and mostly no, but
No, he doesn't really. He's a programmer, but he doesn't really know much about video making or sound or any of that stuff. Like that's all my domain. I do everything myself. Which 23. Ooh,
climbing back up there.
climbing. What are you looking at?
Checking the time. We're
Okay.
Close to 90 minutes.
I've got it tells me up here how long I've been on it. I've been at it for 1 hour and 22 minutes. I'm willing to go as long as 2 hours as a hard cutoff if we can maintain our momentum. I don't want to go super long. It's longer than I thought it was going to be already, but I like to talk. I'm a talker. It's a problem. Of course, if the chat just kind of dies down or whatever, like we can do whatever we want. There are no rules here.
So I'm devising plans, and we're starting to get a few questions in the chat, and I will catch up with them. But okay. My plan is when the chat runs out, I'll go to my plan. Very good. I'll catch up to the chat.
Okay.
Firelight recommends a live read along, and this is something the read-alongs take a long time for Julian to edit. So I've been at them to like just stream of consciousness, get it out there. So I'm very much in
People
agreement
think they
with the
want
long
that?
live read-along.
You think you want that. Trust me, I edit them. You don't want that.
Well, the live.
I know it's watching myself, but like, oh my God.
The live.
I repeat myself so much. I make jokes unfunny by explaining them. Like editing me is way wittier than in-person me. Because I edit stuff, so it's funny. So like,
But the live read along, they could read along with you, and everyone could scream in agony at the same parts. KJ is given up on the idea of being a plotter or pantser. They don't care which camp they're in at this point.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, do what works for you. Give yourself a title, don't give yourself a title.
So, Aura Fantastica is curious if Jenna's books are any good. She's a little bit disgruntled if she's getting writing advice from bad writers.
So, it depends on taste. Jenna is not bad at her craft. She's not amazing, but she's not bad at it. So I would say that the first book, the Savior's Champion, I can see why people enjoy it. It can be fun. It could be entertaining. It's a popcorn book. The second one, though, it's just the first one again. I'm mad about that one. So the first one again, but like slightly worse. So read the first one if you just want an entertaining book. I'll tell you right now, go read Jenna's book. It's entertaining. Just because it's not for me and I have issues with it. But also, you're going to read my book, probably. People are going to read my books and be like, why is she giving advice? She can't do this. Why is she giving advice? She can't do that. Because it's easier to see what a book needs than to know how to do that in your own book. And even though I've been writing for a long time and I have a lot of experience, there are still gaps in my skill because there are so many skills involved in writing a book. You have to be good at characters. You have to be good at plot. You have to be good at pacing. You have to be good at dialogue. You have to be good at comedy. You have to be good at tragedy. There are so many things. So like, you're going to find stuff in my book that maybe I've given advice about that I'm not doing perfectly in my books. So it's not really for me an issue that she's giving advice but she might not be the best writer. It's more for me that she's treating her advice like it is the best advice, like it is the only advice, like she is the correct one about writing and no one else could have good ideas. That's where I have problems. But if you want something entertaining, 100%, go read the first book. You don't need to read the second one. Skip it and go to whatever she writes next.
A little bit of chatter about plotting, and Ingrid's, even though they are a plotter, they don't, like Jenna's, never diverge from the outline method themselves.
You can tell that she's not an outline diverger. Like a lot of times you can tell in the writing because there'll be stuff in there that you can feel was in the outline and it's just in there because it was in the outline. And sometimes when you're writing, the outline might not quite work in practice like you thought it was gonna. And if you're not flexible, that can sometimes show in your work.
Firelight also goes, bleh. As a plotter, I say bleh.
Bleh, indeed.
I think we missed it. Chloe has said goodbye. They will probably catch up with us with everything later.
It's going to be a long-ass stream. I apologize for anybody who's trying to watch this back later.
They can always watch it at double speed.
It's true. Speed me up. Apparently, according to my brother, who watches me at like sped up, I'm easy to understand sped up. So, yay.
MK always tries plotting as they write, but the story diverges so far from the outline, it wasn't even worth it in the first place.
I don't even bother.
Cat, if they plot, it turns into the sunk cost fallacy. I plotted all of this stuff out. I really should use it.
I could totally see that. I could totally see that happening. I mean, sometimes that even still happens as a pantser. I spent so much time on this scene. I don't want to delete it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably all that.
Candy Bug says hello and happy birthday. They just got in from work. They would have given you a better cover, wink, wink, for the new book as a gift if they hadn't been so busy.
I don't ever want, like, some people are like, oh, I'll make this for you for free. I'll do it for you for free. And I'm like, please don't. I want to pay artists what they are worth. I am so invested in paying artists what they are worth because I'm an artist and I would like to be paid. So like, I'm absolutely flattered that you want to make me something for free, but like at the same time, don't, because you deserve to be paid. So that's where I'm at. If you're ever like, I want to make you this for free. And I'm like, please don't. It's not because I don't want it. It's because I want you to be paid what you're worth. So that's why I decided to like make the free cover myself this time, because my cover artist is busy and she's my sister and I pay her full price. So Artists should be paid what they are worth. 100%.
Puppet Master asks, what's a rare story plot / element that you wish was in more stories?
Oh, that's easy. Friendships treated as important as romances, which you will find in my books, but I don't find a lot of other places. The romance is usually the most important relationships in a book, unless it's focusing on like a family or something. And friendships are so, so important. I've been thinking about it a lot because, like I said, my friend recently lost her mother, and like we're very close friends, and I'm trying to be the best possible friend I can be for her right now. And thinking about it as an asexual, I think that friendships mean like so much to me because yeah, I'm not aromantic. I am romantic, but like friendships are like such an important and completely neglected thing in life that I wish we saw more in fiction.
Off topic, how do you feel about the assumptions that we won't be getting Dragon Age 4 Dreadwolf this year?
I am completely prepared to not get it this year. You know, games take how long they take. I'll be happy whenever it comes out. Hopefully it will come out, but
for any of you interested and you need a Dragon Age itch, that is probably going to be better than Dreadwolf anyways. New Ways of the Old Gods
I do
is
have a full length completed book length fan fiction called The New Ways of Old Gods. It's on my AO3 and it takes place after Inquisition, and it's my take on what happens after that story. So check it out. I'm still very proud of it. It's one of the works I'm most proud of, and it will never make me a single cent.
And it kind of leads into Aura Fantastica's next question of what do you think of badass female protagonists? Because
I like badass female protagonists if you remember to give them depth. That's important. Like, I'm here for a kick-ass woman. I write kick-ass women, but they cannot just be kick-ass and angry all the time. They can't.
You're also supposed to mention your POV character from New Ways of Old
The New
Gods.
Ways, yes, Aslier Adar from the New Ways of Old Gods is the Kunari Inquisitor, and she is a kick-ass lady, but she is actually kind of a big old softie. She's soft-spoken. She like loves her friends, so like there's a lot of depth to kick-ass characters.
G. Kase mentions they would love writing all sorts of relationships, and it's sad that friendships get so neglected.
It really annoys me, which is why I'm writing it now. I'm going to prove with the Adventure of Mage series that I can make a friendship just as engaging as a romance.
Ingrid also encourages you along that line. As a demi-romantic ace, they're totally agree that friendships need better treatment.
They do, because like I would fight and die for my friends, so...
Puppet Master is crying over Dragon Age. Dragon Age 3 was not that good. Hopefully DA4 gets back to the origins and it's actually good.
I don't have a lot of hopes that we're gonna go back to like the mood from Origins. Obviously Origins is my favorite, but there was stuff that I liked in DA3. Like I've replayed it almost as many times as I've replayed Origins at this point. So there's definitely stuff in there. Like it's weird because I also play Mass Effect, and I've played Mass Effect 3 twice, but Mass Effect 2 like 5-6 times. So like, yeah, it's random, like what I like in a game. Oh, and I have not played Mass Effect. What's the newest one? I've played it once. Once was enough for me.
Can't help you.
Yeah.
And we're a little...
Andromeda. I played Andromeda once.
Oh, Andromeda. Yeah.
That was enough.
KJ mentions they agree. Romantic relationships are only ever subplots in their book, more times on friendships and platonic. MK asks, do you ever get the urge to rewrite terrible books you've read that have one kernel of potential?
All the time. I have fan fictions from both The Savior's Sister and Lightlark because they were so bad. I was like, I need to fix this now. I need to give these characters some characterization. It's killing me. So I do have short fan fictions because, yes, that does happen a lot. As a fan fiction writer as well, the urge is definitely there to just fix it.
on the same line, LaFay rewrote a bad book they read for Nano once, and it's been sitting on their laptop for years. Might post it as fan fiction.
Do it.
Aura Fantastica asks, have you watched a show called Ruby, RWBY?
I've heard of it. I've not watched it.
I've caught some of it myself, but yeah, we have not made Julian read it yet. Firelight wants to know, Julian, I think you'd like House of Stairs if you're looking for something that doesn't do what you think it will do with the boy and girl MC. Read House of Stairs.
House of Stairs. I wrote it down.
Bella Stirring just got here. Happy birthday. Might be off topic, but they wanted to let you know they love Maeve and Valentine.
I love them too, and they love each other so much.
Where did you come up with them? Personalities and whatnot.
They're both me in different ways, so they're both like a little bit self-insert. But they're the grouchy one and the sunshine one. So if you want to pick an archetype for them, Maeve is the grouchy one, Val's the sunshine one. But I just wanted to have a platonic soulmate friendship, and they just, like all my characters do, they just showed up and they're like, write it about us. And I was like, bet. And then, but yeah, it's interesting because I've been writing from both their point of views in the third book. And it's interesting being in Valentine's point of view because the intensity of the love that he has for Maeve always takes me like by surprise to getting into his head. And I'm just like, oh shit. He like loves her a lot. Like she's not very demonstrative, you know, even when I'm in her head, she's not thinking about like how much she enjoys Valentine, but like my heart, the poor man.
Melody Magical was just a little bit late to our Dragon Age conversation, but the Dragon Age 3 was their first video game beyond standard Nintendo and
Nice
games, and so then they got into the rest of the series. All right. We're still at 25, so we need to keep going.
Yeah, we're holding strong.
We've caught up with the chat. So do I remember what my side project question would be? Okay. So, shoot, I can't remember how I want to phrase this. Basically, is would the chat like to see, what would you do to convince Julian to release some of their older works? There are two of my older.
People don't read my new stuff, Adam.
These people.
Maybe these people would. Would any of you guys be interested in reading my old shit? I do have some of it up on Wattpad. There is some older shit up on Wattpad, but not the one that he is obsessed with. I could put it on Wattpad. Nothing's stopping me now that I found it again. I thought it was lost, but
we can maybe test the AI's line editing capabilities out on it. There are two that I'm thinking of.
What's the other one?
Ledger of Souls. Diary of the Demon.
Oh, Diary of a Demon is already on there.
Oh, it's already on.
Yeah, Diary of a Demon is on Wattpad.
Okay.
You can read it. It's never going to be published, so
Aww.
yeah.
Poor Ledger of Souls.
It's not what it's called.
It was one of the working titles.
Yeah. Now I don't need to have a professional title because I can call it whatever I want because it's just on Wattpad.
KJ is finishing up some manuscripts for deadlines, but then they're excited to read Adventurer Mage.
Yay, it's going to come out soon, just as soon as I finish editing it. Then I will spend probably a couple of weeks doing pitched battle with Amazon as I try to get the story formatted in a way that it likes. And then it will be ready.
We get to stroke your ego a little bit.
Ooh, yes.
Bella Sterling mentions that you are their favorite writing YouTuber. You've helped their writing journey immensely, and they love your videos.
Everybody's got to be somebody's favorite, right? I got to luck out eventually.
Aura Fantastica is curious, beyond Dragon Age and Mass Effect, what games do you enjoy playing?
I'm actually playing through Persona 3 right now on Xbox. So I like the Persona games because I get to do battle and I get to go on dates. That's the same things with Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I want characters I can interact with and I want to kill monsters. So I also really like the Fire Emblem games. Same vibes. Make friends, kill monsters.
Puppet Master goes on a little bit of a Dragon Age rant, especially with Dragon Age 3 got rid of evil options / siding with demons. You're forced to be a good character, even though there are few evil options, but none of the impact in the story. Elven gods are now 100% confirmed. So does that mean dwarven gods are not real at all? Or are all gods real? Qunari looked whacked in 3. I could go on a rant for hours.
You should read the New Ways of Old Gods because there's god stuff in there.
Yeah.
Just my headcanon, but
I think Julian does a much better job with the god deity dilemma of Dragon Age than they.
I think I do too. I don't miss the evil options because I always play as a goody two shoes. Even in Mass Effect, I can only ever be Paragade because I can never be mean to my crew in a million years. I'll punch everyone else in the face, but my crew, they are treated like precious babies, and I will only say nice things to them.
Aw, KJ is not siding with me. They don't want that. As someone with some very cringy old works, I would never ask you to release it if you didn't want to. But I want her to release it.
I got it for you to read.
You did, and I'm rereading it, and I'm enjoying it.
Someday I will write a new book that's his new favorite, but his favorite book is one of my older ones, which is weird to me.
Ingrid suggests you could do a video going through your old writing.
I've kind of done something kind of like that, I think, at one point. It would take me far too long to go through all of my old writing. I don't think you quite understand how much I have written.
Well, you're trying to go for longer form video formats now.
There's an entire shelf upstairs on our bookshelf, just my stuff. Like not even my published stuff, just my not published stuff that Adam put into like spiral bound book form. So I could flex on a bunch of people.
Yeah, flex on those nerds. Ooh, Bella's going to help me out here. Maybe we can bribe Julian if she shows more of her old stories. If we write more platonics. In return, they will write more platonic soulmates.
Do it. I mean, if you write some platonic soulmates, hit me up with those links to your book because I want it. I will buy your book.
MK agrees that a read-along of sections of your old works would be cool. Even if you don't go through all of them, it would be cool to see how your style's grown and evolved.
It would be interesting to do like a mini read-along of like the first couple of chapters of Child of Fire and just like critique myself and just be like, oh God.
That's what it takes to get it to see more light.
It's a very different style than what I write in now, but we have about 20-ish minutes.
We'll see if the chat will come through for me. Cat Endless, all of my really good old stuff is written longhand in notebook somewhere. Oh, I love handwritten stuff.
I can't do that. I think I heard somewhere that people who have dyslexia also tend to grip their pens too hard. I don't know if that's actually true, but I have that. Whatever writing utensil I'm using, if I'm not drawing, if I'm writing, I grip it way too hard and my hand hurts. So I can't write for long periods of time. So I don't write anything out longhand. Absolutely not. It would not work for me.
I have an old longhand writing injury that pains me. So.
That's dumb. It's like, why are you gripping your pencil so hard? I'm like, I don't know.
Bella also agrees with Ingrid and would love to see a vid of you reading your old writing. And they would also love to see a vid about the characters of Adventurer Mage, just like you did for Dragonfly.
Did I do one for Dragonfly? I don't even remember. I'll have to go back and look at my old videos. I don't even remember what I did.
Finish writing down those great
ideas on my.
Janice is curious if I am your biggest fan.
You are a fan for sure, but I feel like the gal who is reading through Adventurer Mage 3 as I put it out on Wattpad has to win that award. She has to win that award. She had a baby and she apologized to me for missing some weeks of my book coming out. So I think she wins. I think she wins. Sorry, Adam.
I mean, I can't really have a child to one up that.
Well, you also aren't reading Adventure Mage 3 as it comes out either. So she's the only one who comments. So she's the only one I know is reading, and she is my favorite human. Sorry. It's really easy to become my friend. Just read my books. My friendship requires homework. That's the annoying part.
Well, not just read your books, but then tell
me that you read them.
If you Candybug is suggesting if you have a good enough PC, try the middle budget RPG Pathfinder games, Divinity, Original Sin 1 and 2.
I think you played that, didn't you?
I think I played the first one. I can't remember. It can be a multiplayer game.
Oh.
You could play it together, and I did not finish them playing it by myself, but I've heard lots of good things, as Candybug suggests. I think they're a good game. Might be worth exploring.
Yeah.
Oh, KJ doesn't even have the guts to open their old writing notebooks.
I haven't looked at some of my old stuff, like his favorite. I haven't looked at it in a million years, and I'm really not a lot of interest in doing that, but I might.
Hora Fantastica. Julian, someone once said to me, a writer has maybe ideas for 8 or 10 good books. Is it a waste of time writing fanfics, or does practice make perfect?
Well, my opinion, and not saying I'm right, is that all writing is practice, so do as much of it as possible. Write fan fiction, write short stories, write the first 2 chapters of a book you're never going to finish. Just write. To me, that's like the key. And if I only have 10 good books in me, well, I've already used that up.
And I would, one could argue maybe they're not all good, but I will throw out the old favorite Stephen King and the new favorite Brandon Sanderson as individuals who have at least made more than 10 books that have sold very well.
Old Brando Sando, he's real popular, and he's just cranking them out. So
he did 4 quote-unquote good books just last year. Firelight realized in the last stream that I don't know a thing about Adventurer Mage 2. I've read some of the first book, and I know stuff about the third, but nothing about the second.
The second is weird. I worry about the second sometimes. I haven't gone back to reread it yet because I'm focusing on writing the third and getting the first ready for publication. I'm going to go back and reread it and be like, what?
You might need to come back and do what I always tell you, which is have more POVs and have more times than the kids have or something.
I'm not, but I might. But I will. I will be obviously eventually looking for beta readers for the second book. So keep your eyes on me. Keep your eyes here. People are always like, how do I beta read for you? And I'm like, just watch my channel. I will make it so easy.
3 free cats. The 3 main characters in my books are best friends, and I really like writing them.
Good.
More friends.
More friends. Yes.
Ooh, MK, the idea of longhand stories in old books sounds so aesthetic, which I agree, 100%. I love that aesthetic. But handwriting, MK says their handwriting is so trash, I can't even read it. And as a comment from the Peanut Gallery from me over here, my handwriting is also atrocious, MK. And the trick that I learned to deceive people is to write really, really small. When you write really, really small, they can't make out how crappy it is. Bella Sterling, I know you're busy, but are you ever interested in making more Adventurer Mage merch? Take your time, but they would love to see more.
I'm waiting because there's more characters that get introduced in book 2, but I'm waiting to do more character art and stuff of them until book 1 is out, and I can start priming people to know, hey, there's going to be a book 2. But it feels weird to introduce characters that are in book 2 when book 1 isn't even published yet. But yeah, I definitely intend to do more character art and more stickers and stuff for the Adventure Mage as the series goes on. There's a lot of characters in book 3, so I have plans for them.
Firelight, jumping back to video games, have you ever played Eve? They tried it once. Are you familiar with it?
I think so. I didn't think it was really going to be my thing.
All I'm getting is Eve Online, which I don't think that's what they're making reference to. Aura Fantastica is curious, do you even like Brandon Sanderson?
I have not read any Brandon Sanderson. I suspect that I will not like his style. But That's not to say I never will read any Brandon Sanderson. I just haven't yet. It hasn't been top priority.
I've suggested they pick up Alloy of Law. I think that's the most likely work for Julian to enjoy, and then go from there.
Yeah.
I'm not a ravenous Brando fanboy, but I do enjoy their work, so I've tried to encourage Julian.
Adam and I have very different taste in books. So like the fact that he really enjoys it makes me go, I probably won't.
KJ kind of chimes in on the only 8 or 10 stories. KJ has so many stories in my head that I'm actually worried that I will never be able to get all of them down on paper and get one finished and 10 more show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always been my experience. So if you're starting out and you're worried like, oh, what if I only ever have this idea? I don't think that's going to be a problem. Just be chill and the more stories will come.
Yeah, Kat mentions along the same line that it's like what makes a good book is the execution, not the idea. So
yeah,
if you're good at the execution, you can keep.
And the execution takes practice. So that's why I say yes, fan fiction, because it's practice still. And with fan fiction, you can kind of choose what you want to practice. Oh, I want to work on characters today. Well, I'm going to write original characters in a world that somebody else came up with, so I don't have to come up with a world. Oh, I want to do world building. I'm going to take these characters out of this original thing and put it in my own world and play with that. Like, I think fan fiction can be very useful to practicing certain elements of writing.
Bella mentions that they wrote platonic soulmates in a few of their books, but they didn't even realize what it was called until they stumbled on your channel. So, and after they found it, it really helped them appreciate it. So
I don't know if that's what it's officially called, but that's what I call it.
Aura Fantastica is asking for a controversial opinion from you. Go, ready, set, go.
Oh,
maybe it's just something would make conservatives mad.
Drawing a blank. What's a controversial opinion of mine? Adam, controversial opinion, go.
All right. So Brandon Sanderson. Stephen King isn't a good writer.
I will fight you. I think he's actually a good writer.
But it's a controversial opinion.
That's true.
You have
controversial opinion. I think that Stephen King is a good writer. He just is not edited enough. He needs editors to come in and clean up after him because he's a pantser, and also he just likes to write a lot of words, and he's good at a lot of things. But my goodness, that's too many words, Mr. King. Put some of those words back, and also maybe stop being a little bit sexist. Stop that.
Kate mentions back on the if they ever had another new idea, I don't think I'd have time to write all of my story ideas. So yeah, they're on the same boat.
There's just a lot, and you just got to write as many as you can.
Firelight's writing a queer platonic love story. They've already done one with a ghost story.
Yay!
Melody Magical. Anytime I've ever tried writing a whole plot, I've never understood how the middle and everything else got filled. The less I plan, the more I fly by the seat of my pants, the more I write. Yeah.
It is kind of like begin something, 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 profit. That's how it goes with me.
Bella asks, are you considering doing critiques for pay while you're cosplaying as a full-time artist?
Yes, I said at the beginning of the stream, but now's a good time to mention it again. You can get critiques right now of a first certain amount of words on both my Patreon, and I just put it on my Ko-fi, just put it on my Ko-fi last night. I'm hoping to be able to up that to doing full critiques, but I'm working out the system and what platforms I want to go through and all of that stuff. But I am, yes, definitely going to be trying to offer that. But if you want a critique of your first chapter, that's already available on both Patreon and Ko-fi. And I'm hoping to soon be able to come back and say, hey guys, I can do full books now, because that's one of the angles I want to take to fund my my writing addiction is to do developmental edits for other people.
KJ Amada asks, do you find it difficult to describe how you learned to write? I never know how to answer that question because it just sort of happened on its own.
Yeah. I decided that I wanted to write books. I've always been a storyteller. I always tell people, and you probably heard this story before. I've always been a storyteller. So even when I was little, before I could even write, I was telling stories to trees, bugs, cats, anyone who would listen. So once I could write them down, it just seemed natural to do that. And I just kept doing that forever.
I'm going to jump back into the moment. But yeah, Puppet Master mentioned Stephen King needs editing. So you're saying you don't like reading 300 pages of describing how someone walks?
No. I love King. Study King if you want to know when to be specific and how. The man is a master of exactly when to use specificity. But my goodness, does he have too many words. And also he writes the same 8 characters over and over again. People are like, you're so good at characters. I'm like, yeah, the same ones. If you like those characters, you'll gladly read more books about them. But
Aura Fantastica asks, and this might end up needing to be a video or two, how to write or a way to write that won't bore readers too much.
gosh, I don't know. I'm sure people are going to think that Adventurer Mage is boring. There are people who think Boots is boring because my books tend to be a little bit slower paced. My books tend to be a little bit old fashioned. There's still plenty of action and danger and stuff happening, but it's not the bam, 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 bam pace that you see Light Lark, books like Light Lark pushing towards, where it's just okay, we've gotten the important thing in the scene that we needed to get. Now the scene is just over and we're on to the next thing. We're on to the next thing. That's not how my books go. They flow. They move like a river. They are more natural and follow the characters. And some people think that's boring, and that's fine. But I'm definitely not the best person to tell you how to make a book not boring, because what's boring to one person is not boring to the next person.
We're nearly caught up with the chat again.
And we're almost at 2 hours.
Well,
wow.
I'll throw out to the chat if they want to help me, to help Julian continue freelancing as a professional artist. They can always bribe Julian to stay on longer if they wanted to.
Bribe me
super
with
chats.
Bribe me with those dollars to stay on for longer. Oh my god! Have I turned evil? Am I evil?
Well, I mean,
am I the
baddie? You aspire to be the baddie, so.
Yeah, no, legitimately, I am really trying to make it as a full-time artist, and that's going to have to involve getting more donations for people and also doing more things for people, like the critiques and stuff like that. So if you wanted a critique from me, keep an eye on this space, and also check out my Ko-fi and my Patreon. So, but also, super chats don't hurt if you got the cash laying down. Just saying.
Bella throws out, not a question, but they're imagining Leela from Savior's Champion and Maeve from Adventurer Mage, and they don't think they would get along. She's trying to picture them working together and can't imagine it.
Oh my gosh. Maeve would hate Layla. Layla would win in a fight 100% because Maeve sucks at hand-to-hand combat. But Maeve would just be like, you're an obnoxious bitch, and then just leave. That would be the interaction.
Amadon mentions some styles don't work for some reason, for some readers. There's no way to write for every reader.
Yep.
MK, what part of the writing process is the easiest? I'm gonna.
So should we say $5 gets you 5 more minutes? I don't know. What do we want to do?
Well, we've gotten how do I? So Bella Sterling is demanding more time.
Ed has a little Sheba that is chuckling evilly. I assume evilly.
But we definitely, if we continue these, we should definitely have a more concrete plan around that. And,
I just always tend to assume that no one's going to show up, and so I never have a plan. And then I'm like, oh,
plan.
Hi.
We have to plan for the best, but expect the worst.
It's like all the writing events I've ever been to, where I just expect that no one's going to show up, and that way I can't be disappointed when no one shows up.
Well, these
Yay!
people,
Thank you, Kat. You guys are nice. You're very nice.
Are foiling your expectations. So
There aren't many of you by most people's streaming standards, but they are mighty. They are small, but they are mighty. Maybe they also live out of spite.
All right, catching back up to where we were. What part of the writing process is the easiest for you? And what part of the story is your favorite to write?
Drafting and the middle. I know. Nobody likes the middle. I love the middle. I would write the middle forever. I would just keep going. I'm told that stories need to end at some point.
MK hates introducing the characters, but once they know them, it's relatively smooth sailing.
I don't mind introducing characters. I don't like beginnings, like the very beginning, figuring out where to put them, how to pace them, what's important to the beginning, what's not. I would much rather be at the part of the book where we're like, we know the characters, we're rolling with the characters, we have a little bit of idea who they are, and then I can start to do things to them. So, yeah.
Janice does send another happy birthday your way before we go.
Yay.
GE Causeway, their writing tends to be slower paced, and accepted that that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Same. I'm starting to have to accept that because, like, when I try, because my books are slower paced, and I'm like, I should pick up the pace. But when I do, it feels really disingenuous, and it feels like there's pieces missing.
Firelight is getting a little bit on the Sanderson hate train. They read Steelheart by Sanderson and never again.
He's got to have people who don't like his books. BookTube is so inundated with people who think that Brandon Sanderson is the be all and end all of fantasy writing. And I'm like, there's got to be people who don't think he's good, right? Like, there's books that are not for every single reader.
Candybug, it throws out there, they can only bribe you with Cursed Heart and Lilac Bird Eggs, but they might try Ko-Fi or Patreon.
Coffee is easier if you want to just do a one-time thing versus Patreon if you want to keep it going. There are more rewards on Patreon right now. So like that's where you get the postcards. That's where you get special videos. But now on my coffee, I am offering tarot readings is one of the things I offer on my coffee that I don't offer on my Patreon. And I also am offering now critiques there. And I hope to very soon be able to like up my critique game and do it more.
So Kat also sends the hashtag Team Spite. They're a supporter.
Team Spite. I need to call my next stream Team Spite. We'll just have a spite stream.
There we go. Donate at the cat level on Super Chat, and you get to name the next live stream. Bella wants to know, how did you come up with the plot of Adventurer Mage?
I didn't. I only had like the first 3 chapters in mind because I was just going to write for a little while and then stop that book. I just needed a mental health book because I was feeling really discouraged. It was 2020. No one was having a good time. And I was feeling really discouraged. And I was just like, I have an idea for a scene. The first scene in the book with Maeve in the library. And I'll see where it goes from there. And then I wrote basically at this point almost 3 entire books.
We've got ideas for 2 more.
No, I don't.
We do, though. Help me get her to Adventurer Mage 5.
There are more continents for Maeve and Valentine to go to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I didn't know what the plot was going to be. I just wrote it. That's the problem with being a pantser. People are like, what's your advice? How do you write? And I'm like,
I mean, you do have some
specific
advice, but how did you come up with the plot is often
See,
one you're lacking.
The characters did some stuff, and I wrote it down. They felt some feelings. They had some interactions, and I followed behind them like a scribe, writing them down.
So I almost wonder if, like, I know Tolkien, like, is a plotter as far as, like, world building, but I almost wonder, like, my characters did some stuff and I wrote it down as kind of like the theme of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, or the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, did he pants like the novels after he like?
I almost feel like he might have,
history?
because he loved the world building so much and he had it all built beforehand, that he might have just been like, all right, now I need to give the opposite of what I do. And I come up with characters first and everything else second. He just was like, I need some characters to experience all this stuff I came up with.
Coming back to the chat, Aura Fantastica mentions they like Stephen King but don't love it because he incites some things in the book that then lead nowhere in the end. They've only read Salem's Lot, though.
Oh, Salem's Lot? Whoa, okay. That's a big one. I have not read Salem's Lot because it's huge. I have the Stephen King book that I actually like is Pet Sematary. I think that one is solid. It's a solid King book. Still a little bit too long, but as far as his length of his books go, better.
Peony is suggesting ideas for book 6 for Adventurer Mage, Maeve and Valentine in space.
It's gonna get there eventually. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger because, like, in the first one, it's very small and it's just the two of them. The second one, we add more characters and more interactions. The third one, they go to a whole other continent. So, like, it's eventually space is the only logical.
Candybug mentions their hardest time writing is adding details since my pace is too much like Lightlark and I expect readers to know the wiki that's in my head.
Yeah, that could be a problem that some authors definitely have. And that's why it's so important to get other people's eyes on your book, because you might not realize what you have failed to include because it just seems obvious to you. Why wouldn't everyone get this? I get it. And then other readers are like, actually, you forgot to put that in the book.
Oh no, KJ is coming to a horrible impasse.
Oh no.
Do you have any advice for someone who has done what they love out of spite for so long that their spite energy is starting to wane?
I've never experienced that. I have endless spite. Just get somebody to tell you that you can't do it. That always refills my spite meter.
I mean, you might need to change the flavor of what you love a little bit, like what Julian mentioned with, I'm just going to write 3 scenes for Adventurer Mage.
3 books later, oops. Well, damn.
Or like some of their spite writing that they mentioned earlier on the stream was they like read somebody else's work and they're like, fuck, I can
do that better. All right, we dipped below, well, we back up. We dipped below 20 for a hot second, but we should probably start to wrap it up.
Cat's super chat has not expired yet, so
okay.
can't wrap it up yet. My battery isn't dead yet either. So.
When Adam's phone battery dies.
I do have a backup computer over there.
Don't want to do this forever. Nobody will watch the replay if it's too long.
Kat mentions, I remember reading somewhere that he had no idea what was going to happen next, so he had a mysterious hobbit named Hopper show up. Hopper eventually turned into Strider. Oh, mentioning J.R.R. Tolkien.
That's a mood. That is a mood right there.
A mysterious hobbit called Strider, who is not, in fact, a hobbit at all.
Yeah.
Melody Magical. I like the movie adaptations, but can't bring myself to read them. I think in reference to King.
I watched The Mist and then I read it, and honestly, the movie adaptation is better.
So yeah, jumping back and forth in the chat, but yeah, we're back on Tolkien. Peony is pretty certain Tolkien pantsed at least The Hobbit. He would tell the stories to his kids as a bedtime story, but eventually had to write it down because his kids kept pointing out continuity errors.
That's why you got to get other readers on there. They notice that shit.
MK thinks Tolkien was a linguist and made his world as a place for his languages to live.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do with characters. Characters show up and I make a world for them to live.
Mm-hmm. Give a space for what you love to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Bella asks, have you ever made a video on writing characters?
Loads of them. There's a playlist that's like writing tips and tricks and stuff like that. Go dig around there. And if there's anything that you're like, these don't answer that question, then like message me anywhere and be like, hey, I want you to write it or do a video about this, and I probably will. If you want to make sure I do it, you can become my patron over on Patreon. There's a level where you can boss me around. But in all honesty, if you suggest something, there's a pretty good chance that I'll get to it eventually.
Aura Fantastica asks, how long does it take you to write a book?
To draft takes me about a year, under a year. But to finish from beginning of drafting to end of editing, like Well, I started writing Adventure Mage in 2020, and I'm publishing it now in 2023. So that's about my timeline.
I think they can get down to 6 months and have done so 6 months or less in the past, but it depends on a lot of things.
Factors. There are factors.
Bella promises this is their last message, just wishing you a happy birthday.
It's okay, Bella. I'm happy that people were excited to chat on this stream.
Peony, real quick, as a linguistics and fantasy nerds, has to point out that technically J.R. Tolkien was a linguist, though at the time was referred to as a philologist. Because philologist sounds like a particularly obscure fetish, which, I mean, it was a language fetish. So.
Yeah, it probably is.
All right. So our super chat has ended, and we're a little bit past 2 hours.
We are gonna close out. I'll close it out like I always do in my videos. Remember that you can check out all the videos here on my channel. I have so many. You can support me on Patreon if you want even more content, in case you need more. Plus, my patrons get to do a lot of other stuff. Like, they helped me decide on my cover. They helped me do a lot of things. So if I needed advice and stuff, I was like, hey, patrons, what do you think? And also it helps me hopefully achieve my dream of becoming a full-time artist instead of just cosplaying as one. So yeah, check out my coffee. Everything's linked, and I will put links in this as well, but when I'm finished with this stream. But yeah, check it all out if you're interested. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. It was a really good chat. You guys are so active. I loved it. Definitely went longer than I intended, but that's okay. And I will see all of you. I have not read Game of Thrones. That's my last thing. I'm gonna end the stream. 3, 2, 1. Bye.